Welcome to season 2 of My 3 Questions. My name is Andrew Mayer, and I'm all about sharing experiences. On this show, I reach out to professionals working in the experience arena, and I round them up here just so I can ask them 3 simple questions. On today's show, I have Nick Macfarlane. For 15 years, he's been in the customer experience arena, about 8 years or so working with Sky in Spain now, running many programs, including customer journey programs, and now is head of customer experience in Spain. He ensures that digital customer service is embedded in the product's design. Nick, welcome to the show today.
Hello, Andrew. Thanks very much for having me. It's really exciting to speak on what I think is a great forum for us customer experience professionals to get together. So really excited. Thank you.
Thank you. And just so those who might watch this, I came across you through my interview with Max Israel just a couple weeks back from Customerville. And so quickly we were able to come together. We've never connected other through recently on LinkedIn, and the wonder of this technology and how this works. A couple of quick warm-up questions. Sure. About embedding customer service in the product design. I commented on somebody else's LinkedIn post this morning referring to, it reminded me, and I went and searched it up on Steve Jobs' recording in 1997, where he talks about start with the customer experience and work backwards to the technology and the solution. What kind of experience or what kind of examples might you have of building solutions or product by design?
Yeah, so not sure I'm quite as successful with it as Steve Jobs, but so no pressure straight away. But no, I think I'm really lucky with the role that I have with Sky Spain now. And I actually started in Spain setting up our contact center, but have evolved that into a full customer experience sort of role. And I own a lot of our organization under that customer experience remit. So I have a CX team, I have a data team, but I have the product team, I have the design team, and I have the change team within that. So under that umbrella of CX already, you've got a lot of the things that make what the customer sees and has the ability to change it if it isn't working. So one of the things we've set up through our change program is any new project that we kick off for Sky Spain, they have to come and speak to one of my CX guys to say, look, this is what we're thinking of doing, whether that be a new feature on our product or a new partnership with, we just done one with a cinema in Spain where we're pushing an offer to their customers to come and enjoy some films outside of the cinema at home with the Sky product. So anything we do, we say, right, come and talk to us, look at what the best journey you think could be. We'll look at what the best journey we think could be. We'll really think about it from the customer's perspective before we go away and write the requirements and go and speak to the guys that can actually, make that happen. You always chip away at what you started off with as the ideal. But it's that sort of thing that we're doing in that space, which I think is great because it just makes sure that the customer is considered all the way through. And sometimes when you try and retrofit it, you've missed the opportunity or whatever.
Or it just doesn't fit right.
Well, true, yeah.
And it's usually the case. In it's 25 years, I've been delivering, designing, consulting customer experience, customer care solutions around the world, and often it was the last thing that was thought about. Right after a product was designed, a company had its motions, its services, and all, and sales and marketing was underway. Oh yeah, we need somebody to help the customers when they get stuck.
Yeah, and it's still a challenge. We don't always get it right. Some of the other commercial pressures are more important than the speed to market sometimes, but at least you're having the conversation. That's what's important for us.
Well, that sounds good. So I asked you in here for 3 questions. That was the preview. So my first question to you is, what customer experience trend or trends have you been paying attention to recently?
Yeah, so there's a couple for me, really. The first is sort of around simplifying and operationalizing customer experience. So it's been something that's been talked about for a while, but I think, there's a real focus now on how do you prove the bang for your buck that you're getting from doing customer experience, or how do you make sure that the rest of your organization takes what you're doing seriously. And I have a goal within Spain to have 15 pieces of actioned and monitored customer experience feedback improvement actions done by the end of this year. So the key thing there is that I'm able to tell the difference if they've made as well as just do them. So that'll be fun and fairly challenging, I imagine. And the second piece is around humanizing customer experience. So, I am a talker, I guess, really. Probably you are too, hence why we're talking to each other. But, I started as a customer service advisor. One of the big things that's like more than 15 years ago now, I hate to say it, but one of the big things for me always then was, you hear such a lot about from your customers, but you don't have anyone you can share it with, or no one wants to listen to you. So for me, there's an element of being able to bring the conversation out of the contact center, allow everyone to have human conversations about what you think your customers need and why, and then flow that sensibly back into the rest of the organization with a clear, simple human/customer need as why you want to do something. So yeah, those are the two bits for me.
So it sounds like I need to put something in the calendar to come back to you at the end of the year to see if you made your 15 points there.
Yes, very much so.
And then we can find out which ones were successful and which ones might still need some fine tuning.
Yeah, so you mentioned Max Israel at the beginning from a session you did with him. We have a bet on one of them, and the survey work we're doing with them, we hope to prove through tracking it and monitoring it that you can make customers stay by giving them the view that you are listening to them. So that's one of the things we're going to try and prove. But
I think that's going to take more than just a short interview to understand what the objectives and what some of the results might be. But I like the humanizing part of the story as well. And there's been a lot of conversation recently about and you had this, I think this even says it on your LinkedIn profile, about the employee experience also needs to be humanized again, because for so long we've just focused on some very important, but it's been the metric of how many butts in chairs, how many seconds per call, and things like that. And I believe that's probably where you're going as well.
I think that's right. And I think, I've been doing a lot of work with the guys at Clarabridge. And what we're doing with them is advanced text analytics from our contact center conversations. And if you look at that, and if you get that right, what I think you actually get is a resource that allows you to flip that customer service dynamic on its head, because you can suddenly, rather than seeing it as a cost base where you have to monitor average handling time, you have to look at how many bums have you got on seats and all of that sort of stuff, you're looking at it as probably the richest source of information about what customers think about your organization that you're ever going to get. And I look at, it's not just the sort of historic stuff we said about text analytics in the past, when you sort of see the trends of what people are complaining about. It's the whole conversation, right? So if you think of this conversation, we will have had a little bit at the beginning where we talked about all sorts of stuff. We'll have the nub of the conversation where we talk about what we're actually talking about, and then you have the wrap up, and if we could go and talk about anything. And the same happens if you get customer service right. So suddenly that source of customer experience insight isn't just the complaint drivers or the reasons for contacting. It's what they think about your show, what the last show they watched was, how long they might see themselves staying, whether they're going to introduce any other members of their family to your service. And if you can pull that out correctly, as we're beginning to do with the stuff we're doing with Clarabridge, you suddenly feel that this information is so rich, I don't have to worry about paying for the contact center in quite the same way anymore, because how much would I pay for this richness of information? And that allows you to say, right, agents, I want you to have a great chat with people. Because actually the better chat you have, the better insight we're getting. So they're then happier because you've sort of tasked them to really just find out what the customer's up to, what they like, and just what you would do in the space of a normal conversation. So that's it for me very much, is if we can make things much as possible normal conversations, you get so much more out of them.
It's just really basic human nature, I guess, is what we're trying to reintroduce into what we've turned into a very digital and distanced relationship.
Yeah, that's right. And I think, but it's helped by the digital stuff because the technology's evolved to make it, to unlock it. And also, it's easier for customers to let you know what they think. So it's not always that rigmarole of, I've got to phone up and speak to someone. I just want to get off the phone as quickly as I can. And I think, advisors probably find it easier in a digital contact center type space as well. So yeah, but definitely bringing the human stuff back.
So you've mentioned a couple of suppliers by name already, but not just to focus on those. I like flipping this question around the other way. What one question do you wish suppliers would be asking you more often?
I think it's linked to helping you get the most out of what they bring. So I said at the beginning, I've got a goal of 15 actioned, monitored, CX found things to do by the end of the year.
You put that out there. Yep.
I think any supplier for me, rather than just telling the story about what their tool can do, the question I like to hear is, what are your goals and how can we help you? How can we help you achieve them? And it's not always one size fits all in that space. So I think
that's interesting.
Yeah, it's more of a conversation around that than a simple question. But when I'm speaking to suppliers, that's always something that I'm looking out for if they're asking me that. So
if any of those suppliers happen to watch this interview here, well, I would hope so, and hear that you say you have 15 goals by the end of the year, they should be honed in on that and be coming at you trying to understand what are those 15. And
they should be. I didn't mean to say it sort of 3 times to hammer it home like that quite as much as we now have.
Put the fodder out there. Let's
exactly. But I do think it's a good way of thinking about making sure you do take action out of your CX program, not just trying to get everything set up or trying to just, convey what your customers are saying. I think, in a world where, big organizations like ours are so results driven and they want to see the value of everything, you've got to flip what you're doing into something that works in that space as well. But yes, they could definitely come and ask me that and I'd be happy.
And you'd be happy. and that should be the name of it all here. So my last question is an easy one here. If you had more time in your day, what would you do with it?
You say it's an easy one. I'm not sure it necessarily is.
It's an easy one to ask. I don't know.
Yeah. Listen, I travel a lot, and when I'm in the UK, I have a long commute. I would want more. If I had more time, I would have more time for me and, importantly, my family. And that would be to travel, to experience things together, to even to be together. I think last week I said to my wife, "Crikey, I haven't been at home on a weeknight since last Tuesday." But it's finding the time to do the stuff you want to do, whatever that may be. I like going to the gym. I haven't been for ages. And it's just fitting that into your schedule. So definitely the time for mostly family, but a little bit yourself, reading, thinking, and fitness activity would be up there. But yeah.
I love it. I love it. Listen, Nick, I've taken you out of the middle of the workday here, and I appreciate you coming in and listening and answering my 3 questions. I always enjoy hearing other people's perspectives on it and how we're circling around. My recent interviews are coming much more around this humanization concept about whether it's how we approach the technologies, how we employ and deploy technologies, but also how people should be organized in their organizations. And you spoke right into that as well. And I think this is going to be when I do my summary for season 2. These are going to be some of the highlights that come into it, because it's really important. I think we can all agree that we put the person, whether it's the customer or the advisor or the contact center manager or whoever's in that role there, involved in all this, that they get listened to and taken care of. I really appreciate you being here today. And if you want to find out more about Nick, look him up on LinkedIn. He's on the speaking circuit right now. He's all over the place. I'll even put in a link to another show he's on recently. It's easy to find him. I thank you for being here today, Nick.
It's such a pleasure. Thanks very much for having me, Andrew.